that ultimately communication equals wealth. And the first form of communication we must learn, we must take captive, is the communication going on inside of our own head. It's the 1,500 words per minute that are whizzing through our brain, telling us who we are and who we aren't, what we can be, what we can do, what we can have. Outer communication is called irresistible influence. Everything that we don't have that we want, we are going to get either from or through other people. And so you've got to learn how to speak language patterns that are irresistible. You've got to learn to speak language patterns that cause people to come to awarenesses that they say, you know what, I'm going to buy this, whatever this is, product, service, concept, or idea. I'm going to buy it from somebody, and I'd like to buy it from you. It would give me great pleasure to buy it from you.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I'm so excited to have a very, very special guest. As you can see, we have Marshall, the millionaire maker, Silver, joining us today on the podcast. Thanks for joining us, Marshall. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome, Eric. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, I know you're such a busy guy, so I really do appreciate any time you can carve out with us. I think that our conversation today is going to, in itself, help a lot of people, but also I think there's going to be some awesome opportunities for people to be able to get in a lot closer proximity with you in the very near future. And that's really what I'm excited to talk about. But I wanted to start off by first going over one thing that I had originally been talking about with your new business partner, Josh Lustig, and that I've noticed in my 15 years in the business, I've noticed there's a lot of people who will offer different opportunities to basically take a look at their system or implement their system that helps them to write X amount of business. And by doing so, that they should be able to replicate the exact same success. Unfortunately, and you've seen this in over 30 years of experience, that's not the case, because normally what lacks is the personal development side, the mentality, the mindset. And that's where you shine. I mean, I think that you've helped millions of people over your career now because you specifically focus so much on that. And I want to get your opinion. Why is it that you think that more people would rather try to produce content of, hey, copy this exact system versus working on what I think is the most important, the mind?
You know, I have a phrase that I use. It's not enough to learn, you must become someone new. And that is the basis of everything. You know, if you're watching this podcast right now and you've bought books or tapes or gone to seminars at some other time and not produced the result that you were looking for, it's because of what Eric just said, what you just said. It was somebody else's system. And maybe it worked for them. Maybe it worked for their personality type. Maybe it worked for, you know, their life's experience, except it likely won't work for you, because the challenge is it's not always what you need to do to get what you want. A lot of times it's what you need to stop doing. And that's the biggest challenge. And, you know, people call the work that I do, often we'll refer to it as mindset work. And it is technically, except technically to ourselves, we are what we think. To the outside world, we are what we do. And what we do is always predicated on what we think. And so that's the reason, if you have the best tools in the world, if you have the best marketing plan, if you have the best, you know, sales program, and you don't execute properly, it doesn't matter. It just won't work out. And so, yes, I have two primary things that I train people for. First and foremost, I help them change their subconscious programs. I help them get in their own heads, figure out why they do the things that they do. You know, why do they sit on the toilet and play Candy Crush for 30 minutes 4 times a day? Why do they not follow up on the leads? Why do they not realize they don't have more leads? Because there's nothing going on to generate leads. You know, all those things seem like very simple questions, except too many times people don't ask those questions because their mindset is, hey, you know, my business flourished before. We were all based on referrals. Why isn't it based on referrals now? And the fact of the matter is, it's not. You know, if it's not working, it's not working. And if your phone isn't ringing, you've got to pick it up. The second thing, though, that I help people do is fall in love with this process of selling. You know, so many people inside the insurance world, you ask them, why are you in this business? And they lie. They say, oh, I love helping people. I get you love helping people. That's not why you're in this business. And if the answer is anything other than to do with the fact that you're going to make a boatload of money, then you're lying to yourself too. And so again, you can do what you love. You can change lives. You can make a boatload of money too. Yet business is about business. And so many times people forget that. And so many times people don't understand that you sow what you reap. As you plant, so will you grow. And so they're not prospecting. They're not running ads. They're not looking for referrals. They're not creating strategic alliance partnerships. And then even if they have those leads, because they're, number one, not in love with this process of selling, number two, feeling morally obligated to sell somebody a policy, and number three, having irresistible influence skill sets so that they know that, like a good batter, if they don't close a sale on a call, it's a fluke. And that the norm is, that customer's showing up because they want a policy. They didn't come there to hear about, the latest and greatest in Medicare or whatever your offer is. They came because they want to buy something. So if you're not closing at least 50%, if not 80, 90, 95% of every single appointment that you have, the challenge is influence. And so I'd like to increase your ability to sell. I'd like to make you irresistible. I'd like to turn your charisma up so high that when you walk into a room or when you jump on a call, your silent presence is enough to make people say, wow, I just want to be near that person. I want them as my agent. I want to be their friend wherever they're going. I want to carry them there. And all of this is possible, certain, through subconscious reprogramming.
I love the phrase you use, irresistible influence. I think that in itself is such an attractive sounding phrase that most people who especially are in sales understand immediately. They immediately can connect with that. Here's what I've noticed.
Let me go one step further and define that as I mean it. Irresistible influence isn't getting somebody to say yes. Irresistible influence is an overwhelming compulsion on the part of your prospect to beg you for what you're selling. And even more importantly, have them believe it was their idea.
I love that.
I love it.
I love that. Yeah.
See, I have an unfair advantage, as you know. We've become friends in recent times.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm a hypnotist by trade. Yeah. And I studied the mind ever since I was a child. I have 10 siblings, and we grew up dirt poor in Michigan, no running water, no electricity, no phone, often little, sometimes no food. Twice my family was homeless. So very early on, I realized that money was freedom. And I watched my siblings, some of them getting what they wanted consistently, some of them not getting what they wanted consistently. And I started watching other people, and I realized that ultimately communication equals wealth. And the first form of communication we must learn, we must take captive, is the communication going on inside our own head. It's the 1,500 words per minute that are whizzing through our brain, telling us who we are and who we aren't, what we can be, what we can do, what we can have. Outer communication is called irresistible influence. Everything that we don't have that we want, we are going to get either from or through other people. And so you've got to learn how to speak language patterns that are irresistible. You've got to learn to speak language patterns that cause people to come to awarenesses that they say, you know what, I'm going to buy this, whatever this is, product, service, concept, or idea. I'm going to buy it from somebody, and I'd like to buy it from you. It would give me great pleasure to buy it from you. So many times people, they think that the marketing system all by itself will work. And as you know, because you offer amazing marketing programs, the challenge is they get inside, they don't realize, yeah, this is the machine, except you also have to prime the machine. You also have to put the proper language into the machine. And then you have to utilize the machine properly and in the right sequence. And there's only so much that you or I can do unless they let us get in their heads, open the hood of the vehicle, and say, oh, your wires are backwards. You think hard work will get you ahead, when the fact is those that think govern those that labor. Yeah, you're working 20 hours a day, except nothing's getting done. In fact, if you are a business owner, I will tell you right now, the number one thing that should be on your mind consistently is, where's the IGA? Where is the income generating activity? And you want to let go of and release as much as possible all MWAs, or minimum wage activities.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my mother insisted as a point of discipline that I make my bed. And I thought it was the dumbest thing. I could never figure, I still don't understand it. And she'd say, Marshall, you need to make your bed. And I said, Mom, I don't want to make my bed. I'm 14 years old. Nobody, unfortunately, except for me, sees my bedroom. So I don't want to make my bed. And my mother insisted it. I loved my mother, and I didn't want to go against her wishes. So I sold my bed. I got rid of it. And, we had a little 10 by 10 bedroom. I went and got two big steel hooks, put one in the corner, put one in the corner inside the closet. Yeah. And I went out and got a hammock. And I would sleep in the hammock. And in the morning, my comforter and my pillow would be in there. I'd unhook it from here. I'd hook it up in the closet. I'd shut the door.
That's efficiency. That's efficiency at its finest right there.
Well, and what's so great about that too, Eric, is that so many times what we want, we're this close to it. Yeah. Yet a fish doesn't know it's in water. There's so many hard-working agents that I know watch your podcast or are a part of your marketing programs. They're hard-working. There's no denying that. Yeah. Yet the challenge is so many times people put the cart before the horse. They'll spend the majority of their time prospecting when the majority of their time should be spent closing, writing policies. Yes. And people say, well, yeah, that's all well and good, except where do you get the prospects to write the policies for? Aha! That's what you need then, is a system to get prospects, a means to go one to many rather than one to one. Yeah. I was dirt poor as a kid. I became a multi-millionaire many times over back in my early 30s. And I did it with a program, an infomercial product that I sold called Passion, Profit, and Power. And it was a product that, once again, not only teaches, it programs people on a subconscious level for better relationships, for more money, for emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. And when I put the product out, we knocked similar products off the air. Tony Robbins was running Personal Power, his infomercial at the time. And because our return on ad spend, our conversion was so strong, Guthrie Ranker couldn't run his show. And, they came to me and they asked me to come to their office and they said, Marshall, we're going through your script. Are you hypnotizing people to buy your products? And I said, of course not. Of course not. Of course I was. I mean, that's influence. Yes. That's persuasion. And so I have that unfair advantage. As a hypnotist, I have headlined on the main stage of every major casino in my hometown of Las Vegas. When I'm not in Vegas, I'm here at my beach house. This is actually the home theater of my beach house. I love using it as an office. Number one, it's completely quiet. I don't hear any of the noise of the kids running around. It's on the bottom floor of my three-story home. And I mean, it's heavenly. You stayed as a guest of mine at my palace in Las Vegas, 17,000 square feet. On an acre and a half, full purple tennis court, which I love that purple tennis court, man. Yeah. It's got a putting green. It's got a skateboard park. It's got a pool. I think it's 80,000 gallon pool, diving rocks, dual waterfalls, spa up in the crest, swim in love cave because I love it. And I live a life most people don't even dare to dream. Yeah. We had a student the other day and I loved the question she asked. I was talking about the fact that this year, all of you watching this, and any of you that I should have a chance to meet in the near future, and we're going to give you a chance to do that, you want to decide, choose, be certain of the fact that this is your first million or your best millions year. And what I said was, put that into the universe first. Start just with that certainty. Just speak the words out loud. This is my first million or my best millions year. And what happens is your subconscious computer is perfect. It knows exactly how to do what you tell it to do. So like any computer, garbage in, garbage out, good stuff in, good stuff out. And when you tell your brain, all right, this is going to be a first million or a best millions year, your brain says, well, then you got to take free cell off your phone because, man, you played that game a lot. Or you got to get rid of toxic relationships. Or, you're 45 years old. I know you love softball, except now's the time to be focusing on your financial future. Go back and play softball after you have $1 million in the bank. And so many times people don't see that, and they certainly don't respond to that. And so, my desire would be to help people align their world so that it gets easier. Remember, once again, communication equals wealth. I want to train you. I want to program you. I want to change you until you get to the point where you can rely with absolute certainty on your ability to communicate, that you can open your mouth and money will pour into your life. When I get you to that point, I'll know I've done my job.
I love that. I love that. Here's one of the things, and I want you to kind of speak to this because we were talking about how you need to fall in love with the sales process. A lot of people believe that sales is a dirty word. Snake oil salesman comes to mind. I've been out there promoting, you should never be ashamed of being in sales. This is the best industry to be in if you want to make millions. And so what would you say to those people who, instead of saying that they're in sales, prefer to say that they're educating, or, that they're educators and they're not selling? What would you say to that?
Those that are afraid to buy are usually really bad at selling. Since every single thought has a physical response in the body, should I hold the belief that selling is sleazy and I'm not a salesperson, I'm an advisor? Mm-hmm. That what happens is, if somebody feels that way about sales, then they'll resist being sold anything. And they'll always say, so what are you trying to sell me? As if it were a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Since thoughts are things, and every thought we hold in our mind creates a physical shift in the body, when we go to sell, we'll project that on other people. So yeah, I want to change everybody's frame of what a salesperson is. I'm a salesperson. That is what I am. Regardless of how many books I've written, regardless of how many TV shows I've been on, of any companies that I've built into the tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, regardless of anything else, I'm a salesperson, and I am proud to be a salesperson. Number one, I'm the cornerstone of the entire economy. Unless something is sold, there's no economy. So if you want the economy to do better, sell more things. If you want the economy to do better, buy more things. The more people are buying and selling simultaneously, the more velocity is created in the economy, the more the economy expands. That is what the economy is. It's velocity. And so for anybody that's struggling with that idea that sales is sleazy, number one, think back to your childhood, to a time when maybe your parents were sold things they didn't need, to maybe times that you felt you'd been conned or ripped off. Well, Cupcake, I got to tell you, everybody gets conned, everybody gets ripped off. It just happens. It's the real world. Yeah. That said, learn your lessons. That said, be aware, be wary, even of me, of anybody, be wary and verify and say, do they have a track record? I kind of laugh. I've been teaching people. I've been on stage since I was 7, and I'm 59 now. So I've been on stage 52 years. I have been teaching people since I was 23. So that's 36 years of me teaching people. And I see people on the internet that I know are full of crap. I know for a fact they do not have the business that they say they have. They do not train the number of people they say they train. They claim to have businesses that are doing, 30, 40, $50 million a year. And then they have a live event and 30 people show up. And I say, it's not possible. I don't care what volume you think you're doing. I don't believe you. Right. And it's particularly true, as you know, of internet marketers, because they're hiding behind a screen. Reality is created by validation. Again, you stayed at my palace as my guest, which, by the way, I never do. That's how much I love you. You stayed at my palace as my guest. It's the real deal. You fly with me on a private jet once, you'll like it. You fly with me on the private jet twice, you'll like it a lot. You fly with me 3 times on the private jet, and your son will be saying, Daddy, I want one of these. And you'll be saying, I want one of these. For sure. So once again, a mind once expanded can never contract to its original state. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that you cannot unlearn something that you've learned. And I say a wallet once expanded will never contract to its original state. I drive a Rolls-Royce Phantom in Las Vegas. You probably saw it in the garage while we were there. Yep. I drive a Maybach here in San Diego because the Rolls is too long to fit in the beach garage. And oftentimes I'll pull up to, a stoplight, and 8 out of 10 people in either car, because they're both nice cars, will give me a thumbs up. Nice car. Yeah. Number 9 will flip me off and call me names. And, number 10 is the smart one. Number 10 pulls up beside me, politely rolls their window down, and motions for me to roll my window down. And they say, sir, whatever you do, please teach me. I love it. And that's what's smart. Yep. So rather than resent salespeople, rather than resent wealthy people, the key is to say to yourself, what are they doing that I'm not? I've watched some of your videos. Excuse me. You are a really good speaker. You are a really, really, really good speaker. Thank you. I can tell a person instantaneously when I meet them where their Achilles heels are. I can tell them what are the things that are throwing wrenches in their gears. And so this woman asked the other day, and I'm circling back to that. He said, should I really be aiming for $1 million in a year when I've never earned anywhere near that? And I said, absolutely. First and foremost, we've got to change your paradigm. You've never earned anywhere near that because you thought $50 or $60 or $100,000 a year was really good. The challenge is you got me sitting in front of you right now telling you I barely work. I don't do anything I don't love doing, earning millions and millions and millions of dollars, doing something I'm very proud of too. And so it's that paradigm shift that, if we were raised by parents that were either broke or we saw us struggling and working really, really hard, then we may have a belief that that's how the world operates. Fortunately for me, I've been working full time since I was 10 years old. I always wanted money. I knew that I wasn't going to get it from my mother, that she couldn't afford it. In fact, I knew that I was going to have to help because none of my other siblings were bit by the money bug. And we got run out of Michigan. We ran out of money for heating. We got in the car. We came back to Southern California. My mother was born in San Diego. We tracked down her mother, my grandma, and we lived with them for about a week. Well, 2 days after we landed in San Diego, 14 years old, I got a full-time job. And my mentor is the man that reinvented Halloween. And I watched him in the course of about 5-6 years. He's the guy. It used to be the Halloween. You would go to a costume shop that was there year round, and you would rent your costume and you'd keep it for a day or two. And then after the party, you'd bring it back and give the costume back. Well, the challenge with that business model is that store has to be there year round, and you've got to pay overhead year round. When the reality is you're really only doing business, 2 weeks out of the year, right around Halloween. Mm-hmm. And so his brilliant idea was, he said, well, why don't we go to like these big boxes who have their empty garden department? It shuts down September 31st. And on October 1, why don't we open it up as a Halloween store? And that way we don't have to carry it for the rest of the year. And he reinvented Halloween. I watched him go from fairly broke to about $60 million net inside of about 5 years.
That's wild.
Well, more than wild, what it was for me is I watched what he did, and I realized we are all one idea away from a million, is what I used to say. Now I believe we are all one idea away from $1 billion. And that has to be the conversation. The conversation has to be, all right, so what is the next Uber? What is the next WhatsApp? What is the next, put your fingerprint on it? Because that is a fact. And yet so many people are so limited. Gosh, sure would be nice to get by, or I really would like to write, 10 policies. No, gosh, no. You want 1,000, you want 10,000, you want 100,000 agents working for you so that you're not writing any.
Yes.
The challenge is, and these are the two words that you're going to learn when you come study with me, you've got to have a focus and an eye to scalability and saleability. Scalability. How do we put a system in place? Whether it's a software marketing system like what you offer up, whether it is a system of training, which is what Josh Lustig, my partner, and I do with Certain Wealth Group, you got to put systems in place, and you've got to have the systems be scalable. Meaning, if I have a marketing program that I can put $1 into my marketing machine and it kicks out $2, well, heck, I'm going to put those $2 back in so it kicks out 4. Put the 4 in, it kicks out 8, and so forth. I only put $1 in. Even if I put all $8 back in, I'm still only $1 deep. And that's what most people don't understand about marketing. They say, I don't have that much of a marketing budget. You don't need that much of a marketing budget. All you need is for $50 in a day to work. When $50 in a day works, guess what? You got extra money, put the extra money back in until you've scaled it to the level that you want to perform at, and then you're off to the races. Yeah. So as you know, we've got an event coming up in Las Vegas on the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and it's called The Shift. And what The Shift is a 2.5-day program designed to do a number of things. Number one, it's designed to help you understand what are the programs of your mind that are getting in the way. What things do you hold to be true? What habits have you created? What discipline, because even bad habits are disciplined. What disciplined habits do you have that are working and aren't working? And how can we let go of the ones that aren't and amplify the ones that are? Second thing it does is it turns up your wantingness. It turns up your mojo. I guarantee you, and I'm glad that you got a chance to be at Prosperity Palace, my home in Las Vegas. I guarantee you, your wife's head spinning right now. And your boy, you told me already, he said, gosh, Daddy, I can't wait for us to have one of these. Yes. Yeah. That will motivate you. And so, as you go to nice houses, I love the beach, as everybody got locked down in the scamdemic that was running over the course of the last year, the fact that I was on the beach every single day, it's like, I'm not locked down. I'm at a resort. Yeah. And, when we travel back and forth on private jets, there's nothing better. There's zero downtime. You're not even wasting 90 minutes in the airport going through security. You're getting out of your car right at the jet, walking on the plane. You never miss your flight because it always waits for you. And, it's a different way of thinking life can be.
Yeah.
And so it's going to turn up your wantingness. When you attend the shift, it's going to make you realize you've been playing a small game. And I warn people about that because that uneasiness is actually the motivation that you seek. So many people attempt to get rid of stress in their life. And that's, it's counterintuitive, I know, to what people want, but you do not become successful by removing stress. You become successful by asking for and embracing more stress.
Yes.
And dealing with it in a way that you can win.
Yes.
The third thing that you're going to learn at the shift are some powerful, powerful, powerful skills of influence. You're going to learn how to create your scripts, your delivery, your presentations in such a way that they will appear to be completely natural, as if you're ad-libbing, as if you're just having a conversation. And yet every single word is selected carefully, every single phrase, every single piece of tonality to turn you in to a closing machine.
I just, and what baffles me the most is that your program, the shift, is based off of an already successful program you have called Turning Point. And this is a training seminar. So I think where people need to at least realize there is a difference, right, between a conference and a training seminar. You're talking about providing a actual system of how to reprogram the brain that's going to get them to start believing that they are multimillionaires. They just haven't had the checks deposited yet. And you normally charge $3,000 per head if you're going to attend this. What's the thinking in doing this crazy step where you're actually allowing people to come to this event? They could even you're saying they could bring somebody, a +1, at no cost. Like, what's the thinking behind this?
Well, it's decades of experience in building companies. If nobody knows you're there, then you don't have any business. And you're going to spend the money one way or another. Rather than spending money on advertising, I'd rather give away training to get people to understand who we are so that we have an evangelical following. Yes, two things. I have been a speaker. I've been a trainer, as I mentioned, for 36 years. I have been on numerous stages that were insurance conferences of all types. And every single one of them had one thing in common. It was speaker after speaker after speaker after speaker that was usually inside of the insurance world. They were, talking to their peers. Oftentimes the people running them didn't really know much about insurance because they weren't really good at selling insurance. They were really good at selling programs to help people believe they could sell insurance. And the challenge that I had with that is I would go to these conferences and I would hear speaker after speaker after speaker say the exact same thing. And they all had a different story, and their stories were fascinating, except they really didn't have any substance. Mm-hmm. And I said, a successful person that knows how to make money in business can make money in any business. Yeah. Not just how great insurance is that, you've got this, you're building this massive residual income machine. That's awesome. The challenge is, though, it takes a while to build it. It does. And it takes some definite fortitude to stick with it. And what the insurance world counts on, actually, is that an agent will come on board. They will sell policies through the agency to all of their friends and family, get burned out on it, and then move on to something else, where the policies will stay with the agency. That's the business model. Anybody that pretends it's not, they're in denial. When I saw these conferences, I said, there's got to be a better way to train these people. It's a phenomenal business. I just don't see anybody training in all these other pieces. Like you said, everybody's selling, here's the marketing program, here's how you write more policies, here's how you set more appointments. And I said, that's all well and good. It didn't address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is the fact that the individual doesn't do those things well. And even if you show them exactly what to do, they still don't do them well. So yes, I met my partner, Josh Lustig. He actually was at one of those conferences. Yes. He saw me speak. He was a part of the 90% of the people in the room who leapt out of their chair, raced back to the back, and paid thousands of dollars for You're Right, the program that I've been doing for 36 years called Turning Point. He attended Turning Point, loved what he learned there. And when I had him at the event, I realized, number one, he reminded me a lot of myself at 24 years old, just non-stop, very driven. He also reminded me of myself in the idea that I thought at that point, if I just worked hard, then, I'd get ahead. Oh, yeah. And I said, you know what? I believe the two of us teaming up can shift the paradigm inside the insurance world. And I believe the two of us teaming up can make this happen for a lot of people in a lot of different industries. Obviously, that's how we met you. We know that the marketing software side of things is a major piece of this equation. And then the next piece is the individual. And then the next piece is setting up, how do you automate the rest of that process so that it is scalable? And then finally, the other one, saleable, which means ultimately you have to get out of your business. It has to run without you to the point where you can hand it off to somebody else at your price tag, and they can buy that from you, and the business works just fine without you. Most people never think about that. They don't think about their exit strategy. All they're thinking about is, how do I produce more revenue? How do I stay in business? Most people, 99% of the population gets comfortable. 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, maybe $1 million. Even at that level, though, their brain doesn't say, no, if I can do 1 million, I could do 10 million. If I could net 10 million, I can net 100 million. It's just numbers. Money is math. And so if this thing, makes me X and I want to make 1 million times X, then okay, do it 1 million times more. Either duplicate yourself in a system, duplicate yourself in other people, duplicate yourself in a product. That's how you scale.
Yes, 100%. I love that. And so the event, you guys, we're telling you, this is something that Marshall has never done, to allow people to attend this training seminar for free. Okay. So this is something he has never done, nor does he know if he's going to do it again.
That's I doubt that we will. So you asked me, and I didn't fully answer the question, I realized. You said, Marshall, it's crazy. Why are you doing this? The reason I don't like giving away programs for free is things are worth what you pay for them. And when Josh and I started chatting, I said, you know what? Right out the gate, we had a very awesome strategic alliance partner that let us speak to his tribe. His tribe responded really well. And I said, you know what? I'd like to really shake up this industry. And I'd like there to be a lot of people running around right now that say, hey, have you checked out this brand new company called certainwealthgroup.com? And I said, Josh, I'm going to do something I've never done before, yet I'm also going to hold people accountable. So here's the deal. We created a program that is more slanted toward specifically insurance types. It is foundationally the same course that I've been teaching for 36 years called Turning Point, that we've had over 1 million people go through the course worldwide. The shift is coming up in Las Vegas on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of August. The program is normally, as you mentioned, $3,000 per person, and we're letting people attend for free when they put down a $499 deposit. Why the deposit? Number one, logistics. If we have 1,000 people register and I go lease a space in a hotel for 1,000 people, and people, because they had nothing at stake, change their plans or decide not to go, then I'm stuck. I don't want to be stuck. And I don't think it's fair that anyone would expect Josh and myself to be stuck. So there's a $499 deposit. It allows you and a guest to attend. And as long as you're there for the entire 2.5 days, at the end of the event, we'll give you your money back 100%. It's just to ensure you give us a chance to change your life. Remember, the top 3 things you're going to learn. Number one, you're going to learn how to reprogram your mind with the thoughts of a multimillionaire, so you do what a millionaire does and you produce similar results. Second thing it's going to do, it's going to teach you how to turn up your wantingness, how to get your motivation back, get your mojo back. And then third thing it's going to do, it's going to teach you how to communicate, not just internally, also the skills of irresistible influence. So you can't have anybody at any time begging you for what you're selling and having them believe it was their idea. I believe you have a link, because we're doing this, obviously to your fans, for your tribe, and my gift back to you saying, hey, I appreciate all that you've done for us. So let them know where they can find the link.
100%. So just keep an eye out, guys. So depending on where this is posted, it's either going to be above or below the video, but keep an eye out, because again, the seats are going to fill up fast. We're talking about a program that's normally $3,000 to attend for free. Okay. So it's going to fill up quick. We already have people registering. Make sure that you're there. I'm going to be there as well, so that you can see me in person. We can chat. We can go over ideas and strategies, but more than anything, what you want to make sure you're doing is getting into close proximity to someone named Marshall Silver and also Josh Lustig. These guys are amazing individuals, people who have good hearts, but also who truly do want to help with providing you systems that work to reprogram your mind to get you thinking like a multimillionaire. I wanted to thank you again, Marshall. It's such a huge honor to have you here. Thank you again for everything you've done for us so far and for what you're about to do for this industry.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys on the next video, and we'll see you at the shift. Talk soon. Hey, thanks for watching the podcast. If you like the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can get notified when more new content comes out. We'll see you on the next one.